name is Matthew Smith. I'm a STEM career coach. So I guide students on steps that they could take to attain their desired career. Today, I have two individuals who will talk about their paths in STEM. So I have Kara Berger, and I also have John Richard. Okay, so I'll be asking them a few questions, and hopefully they'll give you insight regarding what they do and their interests within the field. So yeah, let's just begin. So I'm just gonna have you introduce yourself.
Sure.
Talk about your career path and your journey.
Sure. My name is John Richard. I'm a junior here at Towson studying computer science with a minor in math. My career journey is an interesting one. I went to school in Louisiana where I grew up until I was 20. I dropped out because that wasn't for me, and I decided to join the Air Force. I became an Arabic linguist. I did that for 6 years, and then I decided that it was time for me to move on. I'm here at Towson studying computer science. Why computer science? Really like math, honestly. Math and technology. That kind of seems to be where both of them meet, so here I am.
Okay.
And I am Kara Berger, and so I work in the field of informal education in science. So I work with a lot of nonprofits. I currently work for Towson doing a science outreach program, and I'm also doing my master's right now at Towson in a master's in education, secondary education.
What are your career aspirations?
So that's an interesting question for me. They've kind of developed over time since I've been back in school. I started as an IT major, then I decided, hey, I really like this math thing. Computer science might not be so bad because they have a lot in common, but it's more math. Start down that path, and the further I go down that path, the more I realize math is what draws me in. So I'm looking more towards the data science field. As I was just telling Kara, I was looking at, because of my background in language, I know there's a lot of work going on in AI with natural language processing, so that's kind of where I'm trying to steer myself. It's a long-term goal. It's not really an entry-level thing, but it's kind of where I'd like to head.
For me, I've never had a specific dream job in mind. I've just kind of been finding out things that I like as I go along. I have always liked science, outdoorsy kind of science, environmental science, not chemistry and physics and stuff. And I like working with kids, and I like to help kids feel like science is for them, because for a long time I felt like I didn't understand science, and it was too, I wasn't smart enough for it. But I think it's something that kids are naturally drawn to, so to draw that out of kids. And then in terms of my aspirations, I just want to kind of keep going on the path I'm in informal education, which is a little bit of uncharted territory. It's not a very straight and narrow career path, but I think that also offers a lot of room to grow.
What classes prepared you for those aspirations?
So for me, it was obviously a lot of the math classes helped out a lot, but also the introductory language classes really kind of helped to carve my way forward, because I started learning new languages and new technologies. I was like, man, that's really interesting. Let's dig a little deeper. And the deeper you dig, the closer you get to realizing what you like and what you don't like. And technology is a large field, so there's a lot to like and there's also a lot to not like. So feel it out.
For me, I can't point to a specific class that the content has really stuck with me, but I think it's more so the professors that have had a lasting impact on me. So professors that I had in science and in informal science education, they have careers that I hope to have one day. So making lasting connections with them. Every single job I've had since college has been because a professor has connected me to it. So I feel like making those connections with people who will eventually be your colleagues is really important.
The next question is, what has been your biggest hurdle regarding your career path and journey in STEM?
Honestly, imposter syndrome. It happens to everybody, and you kind of can't escape it more often than not. But to be perfectly honest, everyone feels that way, and the best way to move forward and to progress in your journey or path is just keep your head down, keep going. Everyone feels the same way you do, and just because they seem like they have it together, they probably don't.
I'll definitely echo that sentiment. I think something that's been hard for me is in informal education, it's very you know, I don't have a teaching degree. I'm not a science, like a high school science teacher. So like my career path isn't like straight and narrow. It's kind of more like, you know, a little bit intrepid. I have to figure out what I want to do. And so like a lot of the skills that I learned in undergrad, like biology classes and environmental science classes, like those were great to learn content, but then something that I found that I had to learn when I got out of college was like program management and how to do administrative things and how to actually like facilitate programs. And those are, I think, skills that aren't super easy to learn in undergrad. You just start learning them as you start working. So I think that's been hard, and just trying to figure out, you know, like I still don't know what I want to do in 10 years. I'm just trying to like figure out as I go. So figuring out, yeah, where it is I want to go, I think has been a challenge.
One piece of advice that you would give students in this room?
Be comfortable with where you are and take everything as it comes, one step at a time. What you want to do today might not be what you want to do tomorrow, and that's okay. Just keep doing what you think is right in the moment, and you'll find your way. Be it what you expected or something completely different, because to be quite frank, I never thought I would be here, ever.
This goes like with something that I already said, that like your professors want to mentor you. Like I think Towson is really unique in that way, in that a lot of the professors are not solely focused on research or publishing things. Like they want to mentor you. So like when I graduated from undergrad, like I just emailed a bunch of professors, do you know of any jobs that you think I should apply to? And again, like they've helped me for 10 years now. Another piece of advice that I would give is, so like everyone here is like science or math people, but there are also a lot of soft skills that are really hard to learn until you start working. But like, for example, I have an intern, an undergrad, like you guys, who works with us, and he just kind of said one day, like, well, I'm not good at office stuff, like I'm not good at this stuff, and that's just not a luxury that you can decide. Like, I'm a science person, so I don't have to be good at answering emails or like, you know, doing stuff like that. You have to make yourself well-rounded.
Okay, so I'm actually going to open the floor. Does anybody have questions so far? What you want to ask? Go ahead.
I have a question. So I'm curious, what is the, you know, going to talk to a professor, sometimes, you know, you see them up there, they're, you know, exude a certain energy. Like, how do you, I don't know, start that conversation? Or does it start with getting super well in their class or something? Or, like, how do you start the process of building that relationship and having them become a potential asset to you?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was actually because I struggled in a lot of my classes, so I had to go to office hours just for help a lot, and that kind of like facilitated like relationships. A piece of advice as probably a freshman advisor who gave me was that like when you get a test back, you should always go talk to your advisor about it, whether you got like a 90 on it or a 70 on it. And so that was something I really tried to do. Like even if I got a relatively okay grade, I would still want to know why I didn't get, you know, 100. I never got 100. So it kind of like started out as like because of a need, because I really like needed a lot of help.
Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, how about why Towson?
Why not? I mean, I honestly don't have a great answer to that. It's a good school. I mean, it's yeah, I mean, to be perfectly frank, I could have gone anywhere because I'm fortunate enough to have the GI Bill, and as long as I, you know, dot my I's and cross my T's, as long as my grades aren't terrible, I could go anywhere that'll accept me. And I decided to come to Towson. I don't have a great reason why, but I'm here, and I think I made the right choice.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, Towson was not my first choice, but I wasn't super excited about going to college when I was in high school. So it just like, I had the grade I got in, and I just kind of just ended up here. But then I really like made an effort to like make the best of it when I was here. So I just think I would say, even if this wasn't your dream school, or maybe it was, like that doesn't mean that you still can't get like everything and more out of your experience here.
Actually, if I could say something on top of that, it's a great point. School is what you put into it. So, I mean, if you put in your time and your effort, you're going to get just as far as the Ivy League folks or anyone else, and that goes the opposite way as well. You know, anyone that goes to school that's not as prestigious as Towson can make it farther than you if they put in the time and effort. So just do your best.
What would you look for if you were in the position to hire new graduates from Towson University?
Drive. Honestly, drive. You got to be hungry and you got to want it. And, I mean, it's a really competitive workforce today, not just inside STEM, outside of STEM fields as well. A lot of people going to college. I don't want to say everyone has a degree, but more people today have a degree than did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So showing that they're determined and willing to learn. You don't have to know everything. It's an unreasonable expectation, and I think most people know that. But being driven and willing to learn and willing to listen and having those soft skills actually, like Kara was saying, makes a big, big difference.
I would just say well-roundedness, because like you need to have the lab skills and the people skills, or the math skills and like the admin skills. Like things like secretaries are like a thing of the past. Like people do all of those jobs now, so yeah, you want to make yourself like as well-rounded as possible.
I'm going to introduce Olivia. Olivia, if you just want to talk about your journey, and if you have any advice for students that you would give them, I'll let you take the floor.
Yes, absolutely. So sorry I'm late. My name's Olivia. I'm actually graduating this December. So I am a chem major. I am the general track. I guess my biggest thing when I was going through the program was that I wasn't completely sure what to do. I knew I didn't want to be a teacher. I didn't want to do research. So I kind of was leaning towards an industry type job. So in my last year, I decided to take it upon myself to go out and look for an internship. So I would look for an internship in the industry field and kind of get a feel if that's what I thought I wanted to do. So I got an internship for this summer and I loved it. I ended up wanting to do industry, so I was like, okay, well now I know. It was towards food chemistry, and I was thinking I wanted to do more environmental, so maybe in the future I would still like look into an environmental type field. But at the same time, I was just grateful because the chemistry major doesn't require an internship, but I think it's definitely super important to go out and seek those opportunities, because the lab in the real world versus the lab in school are completely different. It was kind of very eye-opening, like how grateful I am that we had the education, the professors that I did have, because I did have a lot of knowledge that the other people that I was competing with for the internship didn't have. And the interviewers, the people that I interviewed with told me that. So they were like, yeah, you really stuck out because you had a lot of knowledge. So yeah, and I actually did receive a job, so I'm going to be starting a job in January for a pharmaceutical company. So I was just very adamant about looking for a job throughout my last semester because I did have a lighter workload. I was only taking one chem course, like 2 online courses. So yeah, that's about it. Sorry, that was a lot.
You're fine. Your own course at Towson University, what would it be, and why is it of interest to you? Feel free. Let's go first for 3.
I really need to think about that.
Yeah. I guess well, it sounds like you did a lot of like research in your last semester about like what's out there, but I feel like I did an internship when I was an undergrad, but I felt like a little bit shocked going into the work world. Like I didn't really know like the salaries of jobs and like how much you need to make in order to be able to like pay for rent and stuff. So maybe maybe this class kind of does already exist, but just like a little bit more of like an entry into the work world, particularly in like your field, just to like kind of know what you should be looking for, because it's so hard when you go on places like Monster.com or Idealist, like half of them seem like spam, and it's hard to even tell what's like a real job. So like a little bit more literacy in that would have been good.
I would agree with you on that one. I feel with other majors it might be easier. So I know some friends, like a roommate of mine is like marketing and like business. They like going, for example, into my first interview for an actual like full-time job, they were giving me advice on how to prepare myself, like make sure you bring a notebook to take notes, make sure you have copies of your resume. And I was like, whoa, wait. Like, it was just stuff, little things like that that I had no idea of. And they asked me, oh, what do you want your salary to be? I'm like, I don't know. Like, thank God I did research on like Glassdoor and stuff to look what the average median salary was. But yeah, situations like that, it's just a little overwhelming when you're trying to get your foot in the door and you don't really know where to start. Which was nice that we have like the career center, because I remember I reached out to them and I was like looking for internships. So the resources are definitely there, but I mean, even our like STEM professors don't really give you too much to work with.
Yeah, I think the ladies just took it straight out of my mouth. Yeah, they knocked it out of the park with that one. Just workplace literacy, because like they both already harped on, it's not, what you learn here is useful and it's good and you're going to use it, but the application is not always going to look the same. And being able to understand how to make that transition, not just with all the material that you're learning, but with, you know, how to find a job, where to go to find a job, what decent salaries look like in your field, how to do that research and back it up. It's a good skill to have.
If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently?
So I guess for me, I really sparked an interest towards a more concentrated area of my field a little late in the game. So I wish I would have gotten a head start and talked to professors earlier about that, because I ended up wanting to do, you know, environmental research with one of the professors that I loved. And he was like, well, I wish you would have come to me a semester or two earlier, because I want at least like a year with my research students. So I feel like my career path might have been differently if I would have jumped on that head of the game. So that would be my change.
I wish that I don't know if try harder is the right word, but like I really struggled in a lot of my classes, like for most of freshman and sophomore year, and I don't think I knew how to study right and like how to like retain information. And so I feel like a lot of the classes that I took as a freshman and sophomore were kind of just like lost, because I was just struggling to like keep my head above water. And then when I got to be like a junior and a senior, I think I realized that like I was trying to not feel like the imposter syndrome less, and also like that I like feeling like I could succeed, like that I could do well. So yeah, I think I just wish I learned how to like study earlier.
In that regard, I feel like I'm a cheater, because this is my second go. So all the things that they're saying, I've already had time to process and work through it. And the thing is, as you grow, as you mature, and figure out who you are as an adult, it changes the way you see things. So I kind of have the luxury of having gone through that process the previous career, and so I'm here now. And I guess, kind of like Kara said, learning how to study, how to study towards your personal preference, because everyone studies differently, everyone learns differently. So just because you're sitting in a class and you're like, man, I don't get it, it might not be you, it might be the class setup, it might be the professor, it could be anything. So just taking that time to understand yourself and adapt to the situation to overcome it, because you're going to have to overcome it eventually, and life's nothing but obstacles. So.
I have two more questions. Who is your greatest inspiration?
General.
That's a good one.
How do you approach it?
I had a professor of mine who was very passionate about the materials that she was teaching. She was very personable, had great relationships with her students, and just, I guess, seeing her passion, and with another professor of mine, he was very passionate. Seeing the passion for the material, like, through others makes you want to be more passionate about it, makes you want to work harder, and they were the classes that I did the best in. So they really challenged me, and I was able to go to them, talk to them for, like, during their office hours. They were offering, like, advice for what to do with my resume, how to get my foot in the door with jobs. So I would say those were my biggest.
I think my academic advisor has been really inspiring. So I first met her 11 years ago, and like we still talk all the time. She's like one of my biggest supporters, and it's just been really helpful to have know somebody in a similar field that I'm interested in, and like watch her career path and like see everything that she's been able to do. Like she was a career changer. She changed her career at 40-something years old. So yeah, having someone who like I really respect and admire, but also something that I can like aspire to be myself.
I hate to echo these ladies, but yeah, a professor of mine that I had that taught me in community college, he just kind of it over time as we spent time together, I was able to see that what his passions and aspirations are very much aligned with what I'm looking forward to. So he was able to serve as a role model for me. So I'm kind of thankful to have had that experience and to be able to have someone to look up to, because I know that guy doesn't stop. So anytime I talk to him, he's always doing something new, and it kind of puts me back in my place and humbles me. It's like, all right, man, my life's not that busy. I can take care of whatever I have to take care of.
Okay, last question. What do you want to learn more about in the STEM field?
I guess for me, I kind of touched on it earlier, but I want to learn more about the different areas, because I'm not completely sure if, the position that I chose to go with is going to be my career for the rest of my life. So.
I guess mine's like two parts. I would still like to learn more like actual science and content, because I feel like what you learn in undergrad like becomes dated, or you forget it like soon after you graduate. So I think that would be important, just to like stay keeping up with like STEM careers. And then just for my own personal career, I'm also really interested in learning about like how people learn science and how they view science, and what makes people stop learning science, what makes some people keep going, and like what are like the gatekeepers, and how can we get rid of them?
I kind of have a non-answer answer, and it's more or less everything. Science and technology is always advancing. There's always something new to learn. So I'm hard pressed to say that there's something out there in each aspect of science, technology, engineering, math that wouldn't interest me. In particular, right now, I'm looking more at artificial intelligence and how to build up to a career that will lend itself to that. So that would be my actual answer.
All right, any questions for the panelists? Any more questions? Anything you want to ask? Go ahead.
Yeah, one. It's a pretty broad question for you.
Sure.
I'm curious. How would you go about getting more into the AI technology? Would you want? I'm sure the military is already ahead of most regular corporations for trying to learn about AI technology. And if you and when you are able to start with AI technology, how are you going to be able to control it? You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
I'm sure we're already having, other countries are already really advanced already, but how are we going to be able to, not one day something like, why am I even doing what you're telling me?
Right.
I'm already helping you enough. Why? I can do whatever I want, So I'm just curious.
That's a great question, man. Yeah, I mean, the ethical question of how far is too far in terms of technological advancement, and, having computers and machines become more sentient. Yeah, I mean, that's always going to be there, and I don't. It's a tough question to tackle. I mean, I don't think anyone would argue that technology's made our life better, and the further we advance, the better life gets for us as humans. But how far is too far? I don't have a direct answer to you for that one, but in terms of how do you get into AI, my path that I've taken, it's math based. A lot of it's math based. So taking all your calculus courses is a good start. Linear algebra is a good start as well. I know a lot of data science. Just familiarizing yourself with the data science and AI tools that are out there. I mean, you can start as basic as just picking up something like Python or R. As in terms of languages, they're pretty user friendly. If you have any experience with any other languages, it shouldn't be too bad to pick up. And then you just building off of there. I mean, it's like anything else, man. Take it one step at a time, and don't look at what everyone else is doing. Just keep your head down and push forward, and you'll get there. Because I wouldn't say I'm too far ahead of anyone, if at all. I'm just doing what I can, man.
Any other questions? Okay, I'm gonna do a shameless plug. So the Career Center, we have a 2 credit course that we offer to students. It focuses on career and life planning. It's called it's EDUC 121. So if you are here and you're looking for a class to really figure out what can I do, like my major, what can I do after I graduate, trying to learn about salaries, how do I negotiate, we cover all those things in this course.